Hi, it's Tansel here. And in this video, I'm going to show you 4 amazing tips that'll help you not just pass exams, but absolutely smash it. So let's go. Now, I've been coaching for 20 odd years now, and within that time, I've helped a lot of people, mainly students, pass their exams, in particularly professional exams like your financial exams, your law exams like the bar, even medical exams. And in fact, I even helped one person pass the Master Sommelier exam, and that was one of the hardest exams classified in the world. I want to show you 4 tips that you can apply now that will set you up for greater confidence and better recall and be able to retain knowledge for your exam as well. So it's not just for passing, but be able to make something of that knowledge, which is what you want in the first place. Now, in order to do really well in exams, you have to have the best approach. Now, there are many approaches to studying for exams, but the one that I found that works for me is a 4-step process, and I'll go through that right now with you. So step number 1 is having the right mindset. That means instead of working for the short term and doing task after task and doing your assignments and going through and just smashing out whatever you need to do, right? You need to look sort of on a broader level, look at the bigger picture and work for the longer term. Now, what does that mean? That means that you need to be able to know what to do before you go into class, during class, and after class. If your sessions are all online, this could sort of come to the part where you do stuff before and after. So what does that look like? I explained in one of my other videos, and I'll put a link down below, on using the pre, during, post method for studying. Long-term studies essentially looks like, instead of making quick notes and doing long revision at the last minute, you need to be able to do things like organize all your information, make sense of it, analyze it, and study it before you even get into class. Now, this might seem like a lot of work, and generally is at the start, but what happens is that the longer work you put in, the more effort you put in at the start, then when you get to the exam or prior to the exam, you're going to have a shorter time going through and reviewing. Instead of reviewing for hours and hours and cramming for the exam, you'll only need to do maybe 10, 15 minutes, half an hour at the most, because by then you would have understood and learnt a lot about that topic. And how that works is you can do that through initial mind mapping. So mind mapping your content. I've got a lot of videos on mind mapping on the channel, so you may want to watch a few of those. Once you've mind mapped it, speed reading anything that you've got. Now, speed reading, a lot of people think it's skimming and skipping. It's actually being able to read visually. And if you can read visually, what that does is that helps you to remember a lot more, because you're processing in a visual manner rather than just seeing words which don't make any sense. So if you see words that don't make sense, you have to encode it. In this case, because we visualized it, it's so much easier to remember. And once you add mind map to your content, you're actually taking abstract data and connecting it to something visual, so it's easier to remember. So mind mapping, speed reading, and if you need to, using memory techniques to remember. Now, we don't necessarily have to remember everything. For studies, it's more in terms of understanding. So visualization will help that. But in terms of remembering, if there's definitions or a quick list on something or formulas, whatever it may be, then you can use memory techniques in that as well. So you've got mind mapping, speed reading, and memory techniques. Doing this at the start will help you along your journey. And once you do it at the start, and when you're in class, all you have to do is kick back and actively listen, because that's important. You don't want to be taking down notes and trying to remember at the same time, right? They're sort of conflicting. So you want to be able to do one thing, and one thing really well is focus, take in information, and if need be, ask questions to interact and improve your knowledge as well. And obviously you'll take notes, but the notes will be very minimal because you'll already have a lot more in your brain as well. And the notes that you do take will be more effective instead of just writing down everything. So that was number one, is that having a more long-term mindset. So mindset is a crucial part of passing exams. Number two, and I mentioned this in part one, is having the skills like memory techniques, mind mapping, and speed reading. These skills are not that difficult to do. Take memory techniques, for example, right? There are so many out there, but the ones that works really, really well for studying are the memory palace, otherwise known as the method of loci, or the journey technique, location method, whatever you want to call it. This works by creating a bunch of locations around the familiar path and attaching items to be remembered. So if you have, let's say, your house, and you've got 10 things around your house. So the first item could be a front door. You're walking through your front door. That's the first location. Second location might be, you see the TV, and then you look across the TV, there's a couch. So that's your third location. And then what you do is, for things that you want to remember, you attach them to the door, to the TV, to the couch. And again, I've got more videos on that, so you can watch that down below in greater detail. So memory palace, things like that enable you to remember not just for the short term, but for the long term. So these skills are extremely powerful. What Memory Palace also enables you to do is think of Memory Palace as like having folders on your computer. Now, if you don't have folders on your computer, what happens? Where do you store that information? If you stored thousands of files on your desktop, well, if you didn't have that search function, it'll be really difficult to find. What we need to be able to do is we need to create folders in our head, and that's what the Memory Palace is. So you don't remember thousands of your files, but you know exactly where they're stored. So that's where you go. You go to where that information is stored, and that's in those folders in your head, which is what the Memory Palace is. So very powerful technique. Check it out in the links below. I also mentioned mind mapping. Now, mind mapping is, like I mentioned, the first point about having the right mindset is all about organization. Now, if I went on a whiteboard and just drew a whole bunch of dots everywhere and said to you, guess how many dots there are on the whiteboard, you'll only be guessing. You wouldn't have the exact amount. But if I said, do 10 dots by 10 down and then fill in the dots equally, then all you have to do is look at the top and side and go, oh, yeah, there's 100 dots there. Now, why is that? Why do you get the answer straight away? Because the dots are organized. And that's what happens when you organize information. Once information is organized, then what you can do is you can start to understand where everything fits. So instead of reading 50 pages or looking at 50 PowerPoint slides, those 50 PowerPoint slides and pages might result in 3 categories. That's 3 branches on a mind map. And then underneath those branches, you'll have sub-branches. So it's so much easier to identify where the key themes, key ideas, key points are, and you can easily understand and remember them. So mind mapping is very, very powerful. Learn that technique. And I've also got a video down below on how to mind map using Xmind, which is a free mind mapping software, which you can check out. And look, there's many more as well once you sort of go online and do a search. But I prefer Xmind. I've been using it for years, and feel free to try it out. I'm not affiliated with them at all, so give it a crack. And the other technique there is speed reading. Now, I've got a whole playlist on speed reading on my channel, so you definitely want to check that out with all the techniques and stuff. But very basic overview of speed reading is being able to read in images. That's all it is. You're not just reading the words, you're reading the words in context. So let's say you're reading something and it says this essay must be completed by April. Well, instead of just seeing that as one big boring statement, you try and visualize, well, what does completion look like? Maybe there's a big tick, right? And you've got the image of that assignment there or the essay, and you've got April, could be Easter time. So you see the Easter bunny giving you a big tick. See how that works? I've just made something really boring into something memorable. Now you take this skill of speed reading into exams, what's going to happen is you're going to be reading a question, and that question might be ambiguous. What does that mean? It means that you have a chance of misreading the question, and that results in maybe getting the wrong answer. So if it's a multiple choice exam, you've got a 50-50 chance possibly of getting it wrong. Now, if you're always encoding the correct way for the question, then that gives you a higher chance of understanding the question and then getting the right answer. So speed reading will help you understand the question a lot better. Not so that you can read it faster. Faster is just a side effect of speed reading, right? Side effect of encoding. What you want to be able to do is visualize that question a lot better so you can answer a lot better. So that's what speed reading is. So number 2 was skills, right? Techniques that you need to learn. Number 3 is a big one, and I usually tell all my clients that I work with to log their time and energy. Now, what does logging your energy look like? You can do it throughout the day. Say, okay, I wake up, I do this task, do that throughout the whole day, and assign a rating. Could be a rating out of 10, out of 5, or it could be low, medium, high. And what that does is it shows you how well your energy is going throughout the day. Like your energy might be extremely low throughout the evenings. And if you do a log of your energy, if you take notes of your energy throughout a whole week or 2 weeks, then you can see patterns emerging. And if those patterns show you that you're always low on energy, guess what's going to happen? Your concentration isn't going to be enough to be able to remember and study good. You'll probably forget a lot of things, or you might procrastinate. You might delay doing things because your energy levels are low. So you want to analyze your energy levels, and once you've analyzed it, then you can start tweaking things around, or you might put high energy things first or low energy things the other way around, right? So the secret is to first analyze, create an energy log, right? Write down all the things that could tie you down, bring down your energy, and also write down the things that give you energy as well. Like exercise might take away energy, but it does give you energy for later on. If you're eating junk food, that's going to make you feel lethargic and probably heavy later on, or make you sleep, okay? So log your energy, because it's such a powerful thing to do, and analyze. And once you've analyzed that bit of energy, then you can go out and really do some amazing things because you've got the energy to do so. That's number 3, is logging your energy. And the final tip, number 4, is being resourceful. What does that mean? When you're studying, we generally have our standard bit of information and knowledge that's around us. So that could be our PowerPoint slides, our articles, our textbook, our teacher, and that's pretty much it. But often what I find is that students, whether you're in primary school, high school, or professional students doing postgrad or, specialist exams, don't tend to go outside and visit the other bit of resources that's out there. So for example, you can go and speak to colleagues that are studying. If you're already doing that, great. Well, you can go and speak to companies that you're doing research on, right? But you never thought of that. You can also meet with your teachers and lecturers after class, before class, make appointments, pester them, because the more you connect with others to be able to learn a lot better, then the more you'll understand the content as well. Being resourceful allows you to delve deeper into the topics. I remember I was doing a case study once on a particular topic, and instead of just researching on Google, we called the company up and then started talking with someone there. I believe he was one of my team members. So doing something like that allows you to just break away from the mold of the stock standard studying. So they're the 4 key points for smashing your exams. Number 1 is having the right mindset. Number 2, having the techniques and skills. Number 3, having the right energy levels so you can manage your time better. And number 4, being resourceful. There are many, many more techniques and skills and approaches out there, but these 4 I've found have absolutely helped so many people over the years, not just get their exams, but be confident students as well. So hopefully that's helped you. If it has, please like and subscribe to the channel, as it really helps me out, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.